I couldn't believe I was finally holding the check. $4.2 million. The life insurance payout from Robert's accident had taken 8 months to process, and now here it was, making my hands shake as I sat in the lawyer's office. Robert and I had been married for 37 years. We'd saved every penny, lived modestly in our little house in Redmond, just outside Seattle. He'd worked at Boeing for decades, and I'd taught elementary school until I retired 5 years ago. We were planning to travel, to finally see all those places we'd only talked about. Then a rainy November night, a distracted driver, and everything changed. My son David had been wonderful through it all. He'd flown in from San Francisco the night of the accident, handled the funeral arrangements, stayed with me for 2 weeks. We'd never been particularly close. David had always been ambitious, always chasing the next big thing, but grief has a way of bringing people together, or so I thought. 3 days after I deposited the check, David called. His startup was at a crucial stage, he said. Could he and Jessica come visit for a few weeks? Help me sort through Dad's things? Of course, I said yes. What mother wouldn't want her son around during such a lonely time? They arrived on a Saturday in late April. David looked tired, thinner than I remembered. Jessica was as polished as ever, perfectly dressed, her phone constantly in her hand. Their younger son, Tyler, came with them 16, quiet, spending most of his time gaming in the guest room. Their daughter, Sophie, had stayed behind with Jessica's mother. The first week was actually nice. David fixed the leaky faucet Robert had been meaning to get to. Jessica cooked dinner twice. Tyler helped me in the garden, though he didn't say much. I started to think maybe this tragedy had brought us closer, given me a second chance with my son. Then came the afternoon that changed everything. I'd gone to the grocery store, my usual Tuesday routine. But I'd forgotten my wallet and turned back 15 minutes later. As I came through the front door, I heard voices from upstairs. David's voice, tense and urgent, coming from Tyler's room. I froze at the bottom of the stairs. They didn't know I was home. Mom, I don't know about this. That was Tyler's voice, uncertain, worried. We don't have a choice. David's voice was sharp, desperate. The company's going under. We're $780,000 in debt. If we don't do something now, we lose everything. But it's Grandma's money. Dad left it to her, not us. Tyler again. Jessica's voice cut in, cold and businesslike. Your grandmother is 63 years old, living alone in this big house. She's clearly struggling with the loss. We're not stealing anything, we're protecting her. And protecting our family's future. How is getting power of attorney protecting her? Tyler's voice cracked. You're literally planning to control her money. My stomach dropped. I gripped the stair railing, my heart pounding so loud I was afraid they'd hear it. Tyler, listen to me. David sounded like he was trying to be patient. Mom's not thinking clearly. She's grieving. Yesterday she couldn't remember where she put her purse. Last week she forgot she already paid the electric bill and paid it again. These are signs, buddy. Early dementia. We need to step in before she does something dangerous with all that money. I hadn't forgotten where my purse was. It was in the car. And I'd only paid the electric bill twice because their website had glitched. These weren't signs of dementia. These were normal things anyone could do. I've already researched the process, Jessica said. We just need to establish a pattern. David's been documenting everything, the forgetfulness, the confusion. We'll get her doctor to do a cognitive assessment. There are medications that can make the symptoms more pronounced if we need to accelerate things. I felt sick. My own son. Planning to drug me. Planning to have me declared incompetent. And then what? Tyler asked. You take her money and put her in a home? A very nice facility, Jessica said smoothly. I've been looking. There's a place in Bellevue, $8,000 a month. She'd be safe, cared for, and we could use the rest to save the company. It's not like she needs $4 million to sit in a nursing home. She's not even sick. Tyler's voice rose. You're going to make her sick so you can steal her money. Keep your voice down, David hissed. And it's not stealing. It's family. That money should have gone to me anyway. Dad knew I was building something important. He just didn't understand tech, didn't see the vision. But Mom will. Eventually, when the company succeeds, when we're worth millions, she'll understand we did this for all of us. I'd heard enough. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely pull out my phone. I opened the voice recorder app, something Tyler had taught me last summer when I wanted to record lectures for the adult education class I was taking. I hit record and held it up toward the stairs. "I still don't feel right about this," Tyler said. "You don't have to feel right about it," Jessica snapped. "You just have to keep your mouth shut. We need to move faster. I've scheduled a consultation with a neurologist for Friday. David will take her, express concerns about memory loss, confusion. The doctor will recommend tests. Once we have documentation, we can file for conservatorship." "What about the money she already has access to?" David asked. "I'm working on that. I got her to add me as an authorized user on her checking account last week, said it was just in case of emergencies. Once we have power of attorney, we'll transfer everything into accounts we control. The house can be sold. It's worth at least $700,000 in this market. Combined with the life insurance, we'll have more than enough to save the company and set ourselves up properly. My house, the house Robert and I bought 32 years ago, where we raised David, where every room held a memory. This is so messed up," Tyler muttered. "Grow up, Tyler," Jessica said coldly. "This is how the real world works. Your grandmother had her whole life to do something meaningful with that money. Your father is building the future. She'll be taken care of. Everyone wins." I stopped the recording. My whole body felt numb. I quietly opened the front door again, closed it loudly this time, and called out, "I'm home!" Forgot my wallet. I heard scrambling upstairs, then footsteps. By the time David came down, his face was arranged in a pleasant smile. "Hey, Mom, get everything you needed?" I looked at my son, really looked at him. When had those laugh lines around his eyes turned into something harder? When had ambition turned into this cold calculation? "Not quite," I managed to say. "I need to run out again. Will you be here for dinner?" "Wouldn't miss it," he said, kissing my cheek. I got back in my car and drove. I didn't know where I was going. I just drove, my mind racing. Finally, I pulled into a coffee shop parking lot and sat there, staring at nothing. My phone buzzed. A text from Tyler. "Grandma, are you okay? You seemed upset." I stared at the message. Tyler. He'd been the only one objecting, the only one who thought this was wrong. I texted back, "I'm fine, sweetheart, just needed some air. Thank you for asking." Another buzz. "Grandma, be careful. Please." He knew. He knew I'd heard something. My throat tightened. At least one of them had a conscience. I sat in that parking lot for 2 hours, trying to figure out what to do. Go to the police? With what, a recording of a conversation? They hadn't actually done anything yet. Confront them? And then what? They'd deny it. Say I misunderstood, that I was confused, exactly what they wanted people to think. Then I remembered Mai Nguyen. I'd taught her in 3rd grade, 28 years ago. She'd been a bright, determined little girl who'd overcome so much her family had fled Vietnam when she was 5. She'd kept in touch over the years, sent me a Christmas card every year with updates on her life. The last card had mentioned she'd made partner at a law firm specializing in elder law. I called her right there in the parking lot. "Mrs. Chen, what a wonderful surprise." Her voice was warm, genuine. We'd always been close. I need help. Legal help." My voice cracked. "I think my son is trying to steal from me." 30 minutes later, I was sitting in her office in downtown Seattle, the recording playing on her speaker. Her expression grew darker with every word. When it finished, she sat back, her jaw tight. "Margaret, this is financial elder abuse. Attempted, at least. And conspiracy to commit fraud. The mention of medications to increase cognitive symptoms, that's particularly egregious. What can I do? First, we document everything. Second, we set up protections. Third, we gather more evidence. And fourth, we make sure they face consequences." She pulled out a legal pad. "Tell me everything, from the beginning." Over the next 2 hours, I told her about David's failed startups, how there'd always been another big idea, another investment opportunity, how Jessica's Instagram was full of designer bags and luxury vacations they clearly couldn't afford, how the visits had started right after the insurance check cleared. Mai took notes, asked questions, built a timeline. "Here's what we're going to do," she said finally. "We're going to let them think their plan is working, but we're going to document every step. And when they make their move, we'll be ready. Let them think it's working?" "Mai, I can't. You can, and you will. Because if we stop them now, they'll just regroup and try again differently. We need incontrovertible evidence of their intent and their actions. We need to catch them in the act. She outlined the plan. I would act confused, forgetful. I would go to the neurologist appointment. I would let David think he was succeeding. Meanwhile, Mai would set up an irrevocable trust with herself as independent executor, protecting the bulk of my assets from any power of attorney filing. We'd install cameras in my house. We'd document everything. Can you do this? Mai asked gently. It's going to be hard, watching them manipulate you, pretending to fall for it. I thought about Robert, about the life we'd built, about our house, our dreams, our hard-earned money, about my son, who'd apparently decided all of that was his for the taking. Yes, I said. I can do this. The next 2 weeks were the hardest of my life, harder even than losing Robert, because at least that grief was clean, honest. This was watching my son become someone I didn't recognize and having to pretend I didn't see it. I went to the neurologist appointment. David came with me, playing the concerned son perfectly. In the waiting room, he held my hand. It's going to be okay, Mom. We just want to make sure you're healthy. The neurologist, Dr. Patterson, was professional, kind. He asked me questions. What year is it? Who's the president? Count backwards from 100 by sevens. I answered everything correctly, of course, but I made sure to hesitate, to seem uncertain, to play the part. David interjected frequently. She forgot where she parked last week, and she's been repeating herself a lot. I hadn't forgotten. I'd parked in a different section because my usual spot was taken, but I let it stand. Dr. Patterson ordered tests, blood work, cognitive assessments, an MRI. Just to be thorough, he said. But Mrs. Chen, you seem quite sharp to me. I saw David's face tighten. That wasn't the answer he wanted. At home, the cameras Mai had helped me install tiny things hidden in picture frames and smoke detectors captured everything. David and Jessica's private conversations. Jessica on her laptop, researching nursing homes, making spreadsheets of my assets. David, meeting with an attorney about conservatorship paperwork. And Tyler. Tyler slipping notes under my bedroom door. Grandma, please be safe. They're planning something for next week. Dad's been putting something in your tea at night. I don't know what it is. That last note made my blood run cold. Mai and I went to the police that same day. They sent someone to collect my evening tea before I drank it. The lab results came back 3 days later. A mild sedative, nothing dangerous in small doses, but enough to make me groggy, confused. Enough to make doctors think maybe there was cognitive decline after all. That's it, Mai said. That's enough for criminal charges. We can move now. Not yet, I said. They mentioned filing for conservatorship. I want to catch them in the act. I want there to be no doubt what they intended. Mai looked at me with something like respect. You're tougher than they know. I was married to Robert Chen for 37 years, I said quietly. I taught 8-year-olds for 3 decades. I survived losing the love of my life. I can survive this. The conservatorship filing came on a Thursday morning. David had been especially attentive all week, making sure I took my vitamins with breakfast, my tea at night. I'd been palming the pills, pouring out the tea when no one was looking, but I acted groggier, more confused. I called David by Robert's name twice. I asked what day it was repeatedly. I saw the looks David and Jessica exchanged. Satisfaction. It was working. Thursday morning, David sat me down at the kitchen table. Mom, Jessica and I have been talking. We're worried about you. You've been so confused lately, and we think you need more help than we can give you. Help? I made my voice small, uncertain. We found a wonderful place. Very nice, very safe. People to take care of you around the clock. We think it would be best if... You're sending me away? I let my eyes fill with tears. It wasn't hard, but this is my home. Robert. Mom, Dad's gone. David's voice was gentle, but his eyes were hard. And you can't take care of yourself anymore. We've talked to your doctors. We're filing for conservatorship. It's for your own good. I don't understand. You don't have to understand. We're going to take care of everything. The house, the money, all of it. You won't have to worry about anything. Jessica smiled, sharp and satisfied. "We have an appointment with the judge next Tuesday. It's all arranged." That's when Tyler walked in. He'd been at school, wasn't supposed to be home for hours. He must have skipped. "What are you doing?" he demanded. "Tyler." "Not now," David started. "You're really doing it. You're actually stealing from Grandma." Tyler's voice shook. "Dad, this is wrong. This is so wrong. Your grandmother isn't capable of managing her affairs anymore," Jessica said coldly. "We're protecting her. By drugging her?" Tyler pulled out his phone. "I have videos, Dad, of you putting pills in her food, of Mom researching how to fake dementia symptoms. I've been recording everything." The room went silent. David's face went white. Jessica's eyes narrowed dangerously. "You've been spying on us?" Jessica's voice was venomous. "You little—" "That's enough." Everyone turned. I was standing now, and my voice was steady, clear, no confusion, no uncertainty. "Mom?" David looked confused. "You." "I'm fine, David. I've been fine this whole time. I heard you. That first Tuesday, I came home and heard everything. The plan to drug me, to declare me incompetent, to take my money and put me in a home." David's face went through several emotions: shock, fear, anger. "You can't, we were just worried about you." "Save it." Mai stepped into the kitchen from where she'd been waiting in the dining room. Behind her were two police officers. "David Chen. Jessica Chen. You're under arrest for attempted financial exploitation of a vulnerable adult, conspiracy to commit fraud, and unlawful administration of a controlled substance." It happened fast after that. David shouting that this was a misunderstanding, Jessica cold and silent as they read her rights, Tyler crying, apologizing over and over. "I'm so sorry, Grandma. I should have told you sooner. I should have stopped them." I hugged him tight. "You tried to warn me, sweetheart. You were the only one who did the right thing. None of this is your fault." They took David and Jessica away in handcuffs. Tyler stayed with me. We sat at the kitchen table, the same table where David had tried to convince me to sign away my life, and we cried together. The trial took 8 months. The evidence was overwhelming: the recordings, the cameras, the lab results showing sedatives in my system, Tyler's testimony. David's attorney tried to argue that they were just concerned, that everything had been misunderstood. But you can't misunderstand medications that can make the symptoms more pronounced, or spreadsheets calculating how to divide up someone's assets while they're still alive. Jessica was sentenced to 3 years in prison. She never showed remorse, not once. Even at sentencing, she maintained they'd done nothing wrong, that I was selfish for not helping my own son's business. David got 5 years probation, mandatory financial counseling, and a restraining order. The judge was harsh. "You betrayed the most fundamental trust that exists between a parent and a child. You saw your mother's grief as an opportunity. You deserve far worse than you're getting." I watched David's face crumble. He was still my son. Somewhere inside, the man who'd planned to drug me and steal from me was the little boy I'd rocked to sleep, who'd brought me dandelions and called them flowers. But that little boy was gone, or buried so deep I couldn't reach him anymore. Tyler came to live with me. His father had visitation rights, but Tyler refused them. "I don't want to see him," he said quietly. "Not after what he tried to do to you." We set up the trust Mai had designed irrevocable, with Mai as executor, myself as trustee during my lifetime. The bulk of the money was protected. I couldn't give it away even if someone tried to manipulate me. When I die, it goes to Tyler, managed by the trust until he's 30. If he wants to blow it all on bad investments like his father, at least he'll be old enough to know better. I also set aside $500,000 for something Robert would have approved of. I donated it to the Northwest Elder Justice Coalition, a nonprofit that helps seniors recognize and report financial abuse. I even started volunteering there, speaking at community centers and senior centers about my experience. Don't assume it won't happen to you, I tell audiences. I'm educated. I taught school for 30 years. I had a good marriage, a son I loved, and it still almost happened to me. Watch for the warning signs. Sudden interest in your finances. Isolation attempts. Pressure to make quick decisions. And most importantly, set up protections before you need them. Don't wait. People thank me after these talks, tell me I'm brave. I don't feel brave. I feel betrayed. But I also feel purposeful. If my story keeps even one family from going through this, then maybe there's meaning in it. Tyler's been with me for 18 months now. He's a senior this year, already accepted to the University of Washington to study computer science. He helps me with the garden on weekends, fixes things around the house. He's teaching me about cryptocurrency and blockchain, things Robert would have loved to understand. Sometimes, late at night, Tyler asks if I think his dad will ever be sorry. Really, truly sorry. I don't know, sweetheart, I tell him honestly. Sometimes people change. Sometimes they don't. Sometimes they can't admit they were wrong because facing it would break them. Do you forgive him? That's harder to answer. I'm working on it. Not for him, for me, because holding on to this anger just gives him more power over my life. But forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting, and it doesn't mean letting him back in. Last month, David sent a letter. Tyler gave it to Mai to check first. We still don't fully trust him. In it, David apologized, said he'd been desperate, that he'd convinced himself he was helping, that he sees now how wrong he was. I haven't responded yet. Maybe I will. Maybe I won't. The door isn't locked, but it's not open either. And that's okay. Some relationships can't be salvaged, and pretending otherwise doesn't honor what was lost. This morning, Tyler and I planted a Japanese maple in the backyard, in the spot where Robert always wanted one but never got around to planting. Tyler dug the hole while I held the sapling steady. "Grandma?" Tyler asked as we patted the soil down. "Do you ever regret having the money? Like, would things be better if Dad hadn't left you the insurance?" I thought about that. The money didn't change who they were, Tyler. It revealed it. If it hadn't been the insurance, it would have been something else eventually. At least this way, I know. And at least this way, I have the resources to protect myself and help others. He nodded slowly. "And at least you have me." I smiled, hugged him tight. "At least I have you. The tree will grow here, in the home Robert and I built together. Tyler will graduate, go to college, build a life. I'll keep volunteering, keep speaking, keep warning others. And somewhere, in a small apartment with a court-ordered ankle monitor, my son will hopefully think about what he tried to do and why. I don't know if David will ever truly change, but I know I have. I'm not the naive, grieving widow they thought they could manipulate. I'm not the confused, helpless old woman they tried to create. I'm Margaret Chen. I'm 63 years old. I survived losing my husband, and I survived my own son's betrayal. I'm protecting my assets, my future, and others like me, and I'm doing it all with a clear mind and a full heart, even if that heart has a few more scars than it used to. And honestly, that's more than good enough for me.